Well, good afternoon, everybody, at least everybody on the East Coast, and good morning to the folks on the West Coast. I'd like to welcome you to the webinar today. Really excited to be this close to launching Anytime Supply Chain, and we're going to dig in and talk about the opportunities that this has for you as a channel partner, a cloud-based application that you can add to your portfolio, and sell into your existing customer base, and develop new prospects for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into the presentation today. So this is kind of busy. I want to spend a little time on this, but what is Anytime Supply Chain? First and foremost, it is a cloud-based supply chain management solution, and it is available on the Microsoft Azure cloud platform. And the components of Anytime Supply Chain include sales forecasting, distribution requirements planning, material requirements planning, and production management. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the high-level features of each of these areas, and then we'll go in a little bit further. So from a sales forecasting standpoint, there's a lot of accounting applications and ERP applications on the market, ranging from QuickBooks at the low end to some of the Sage ERP products, Sage 100, formerly Mass 90, Sage 500, Sage 300 being AppPack, and Intacct being a cloud-based financial application that do not have sales forecasting capabilities. So if you are a wholesale distributor or a manufacturer, there is no way to get a forecast into the system to tell you what products you need to buy, from who or when, if you're in a distribution environment or in a manufacturing environment. From an MRP perspective, there's no way to get a forecast into the system, and into many of those anyway, QuickBooks, Sage 100, Sage 300, etc., to be able to drive a forecast through to a finished good and down through the bill of material components to determine what items you need to make, and then subsequently what items you need to purchase. So that's what Anytime Supply Chain is all about. When it comes to sales forecasting, some of you on the call today are familiar with the Sage 500 sales forecasting module that we developed in the past. The functionality is going to be almost identical to that product. You have the ability to maintain multiple sales forecasts, all the different parameters. You can forecast by item, by warehouse, by customer, by sales rep, by territory, or any combination thereof. You can forecast daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and then smooth that demand down into different period sizes for your planning. And what I mean by that is that we can enter a forecast monthly by item or by customer and by item, but then maybe we want to smooth that or break that demand down from monthly into weekly buckets, because that's how we're managing our material plans or our distribution plans. So we have a lot of capabilities there. From a DRP perspective, think in terms of a distributor. If I'm a distributor, then what I really need the system to do is to tell me, what do I need to buy based on my safety stock levels, my current on-hand inventory quantities, my actual sales order demand, my forecast demand, net those out and tell me, what do I need to buy, when do I need to buy it based on my lead times, and in what quantities. And so that's what we're offering with the DRP side. If the ERP or accounting system handles transfer orders from one warehouse to another to replenish one warehouse from another distribution center, that will also be supported within the DRP functionality. From an MRP perspective, if the ERP or accounting system, such as a Sage 500 or a Sage 100 solution, has a bill of material, then we are able to create planned work orders for those systems. For systems that do not have a bill of material, we're not able to do the MRP side of the equation at this point in time, but we are excited to be talking about the next phase, which is the last bullet here, which is production management. After we launch the initial phase of Anytime Supply Chain, we will be including a bill of material and routing maintenance so that customers or prospects on systems such as QuickBooks or Intacct will be able to pull in their inventory into Anytime Supply Chain, design a bill of material or define the bill of material, define the routing or the labor steps that go along with that, and then do MRP within Anytime Supply Chain to tell them what they need to make. And then there'll be two phases after that. One will be a production entry, which is an after-the-fact way of saying that, hey, I've produced 100 shovels or 100 catamarans or whatever that item happens to be. And we'll have the back-end integration into those accounting systems to push the GL transactions down and the inventory transactions down so that you can determine what was the cost for producing these items and what did I add inventory for finished goods or decrement out of inventory for raw materials. Okay. Down the road, after we do the after-the-fact production reporting, we are going to introduce a full-blown work order system for discrete manufacturers within the Anytime Supply Chain solution. So really, really excited about this. Again, many of you on the call today have customers that are on QuickBooks and do not have access to a solution like this, or maybe you have a Sage 100 customer that is kind of limping along with, with demand planning, no forecasting, and really struggling with material planning. So this is going to be a solution for you for sure. So let's talk a little bit about why we created Anytime Supply Chain. There are a number of ERP solutions and accounting solutions on the market today. Many of them are really, really strong, but few of them are on the cloud. Okay. If you look at the cloud-based solutions, you've got Plex, which is an automotive solution, so very, very niche. They do sell outside of automotive, but really that's kind of their forte. You've got NetSuite that natively does not have a manufacturing solution. They partner with a company called Rootstock to deliver that. You've got Acumatica, which is another cloud-based solution. Epicor is starting to introduce some cloud-based solutions as well. And then you've got SAP Business by Design. There are a few other players out there, Accounting Seed, Commandi, and Keyed-In, that are just getting started really in the market. And then you've got Anytime Supply Chain. Now, if you look at this list, outside of maybe SAP and Epicor, and maybe NetSuite, so you have three players there that are kind of known names. We look at the traditional ERP players here in the box below. You got Sage, Microsoft, Infor, IFS, Cispro. These solutions really dominate the market today from an install base perspective, but none of these products or publishers have really come out with a really strong cloud-based offering. So this is our market opportunity with Anytime Supply Chain, is to go after companies that are on a premise-based solution such as QuickBooks or a Sage 100 and offer them the additional functionality they're looking for on the cloud. So they can continue to use what they're using today, but they have some additional functionality. And this is a very unique opportunity for you. So let's talk about what that opportunity looks like. Again, there is nothing out there that we've found on the market today that is a standalone supply chain solution. If I'm a reseller, I need to take a good hard look at this product because I can now become a reseller of Anytime Supply Chain. And let's say that I'm selling Sage 100. Where do my prospects come from? They come from QuickBooks in a lot of cases. If I identify a QuickBooks company that maybe isn't ready to change their accounting yet, but they're looking for the operational side of the equation, they want forecasting, MRP, production management, I can sell them Anytime Supply Chain, okay, attached to their QuickBooks accounting system Then they're going to grow. What happens when they grow? Now I can switch over and sell them Sage 100 for accounting, but continue to use Anytime Supply Chain for the operational side of the business. Same thing if I'm an Intacct reseller or if I'm a Sage 300 reseller. I can take these smaller companies that have these entry-level accounting systems, sell them a solution for MRP, DRP, production management, forecasting, let them grow, and then move them into an accounting solution that integrates that's a little beefier, right, a little higher up the food chain, like those solutions we were just talking about. From a revenue opportunity standpoint, we have 3 levels of resellers. We'll talk about this a little later. But if you become a certified reseller for Anytime Supply Chain, you can earn up to 30% margin on the annual subscription, which is pretty significant. If you're a certified reseller, you also retain the accounting implementation. We want no part of that. You handle the accounting. We'll handle what we do best, which is the supply chain side. You retain the account. It's your customer. We work with you. We've worked with channel partners for a number of years. And you retain that relationship. So as they're ready to add more modules, more users, more products, as they're ready to implement different areas of the solution, as they're ready to migrate up to a higher-end accounting solution, you have that relationship so that you can continue to maintain that account. From an implementation standpoint, we have professional services that are available. We do not require them for certified partners. If you're a certified partner, that means that you've been through training and you understand the product and you can go out and service, implement, consult, and train customers on this platform. So this is another service opportunity for partners on the call today. And I just want to reiterate the fact that we are dedicated to channel sales. There are a lot of companies out there that are not. We've been selling through channel partners since our inception, and we see this as the fundamental way for us to get the product to market is through the local channel partner that has the relationship with the customer. So let's look at the market opportunity. If you are a reseller today and you are not targeting wholesale distribution or manufacturing, I just wanted to show you this statistic here. If you look at all companies in the United States, I'm just looking at the United States, I'm not talking about Canada or worldwide. If you look at wholesale trade, it is a pretty big chunk of the market. In fact, it's about 3.8% of the market today. Add-on manufacturing at a little over 3% of the market, and you've got nearly 7% of all the companies in the U.S. that you can now target with a solution. The other thing I want to point out here is that distributors spend a lot more on technology than somebody looking for GLAPAR, right? If you're just looking for an accounting system, based on my experience in the past working with different publishers, your user count is going to look at right around maybe 3 to 5 users on average. If you go to distribution, you could about double that. So you'd be looking at about maybe 10 users on average in a distribution environment. Obviously, a lot more revenue to be made there. If you're looking at manufacturing, you can almost double that again. Your average user count should be somewhere around 15 to 20 users in the sweet spot of this market. And again, that's more modules, that's more systems, that's more services that you can provide to them, and it's more users. So these are some really nice niche markets that if you're playing in already, you realize this opportunity. If you're not playing here, then you need to take a good hard look at it. So from a technology standpoint, we'll talk real high level about how Anytime Supply Chain works. It is, again, a cloud-based application. It's hosted on Microsoft Azure. So your customer would have an account. They would log in, and in the back end, we would have web services and a data synchronization utility that will pull in the information from the accounting system into Anytime Supply Chain. What are we pulling in? All the information that you would need to manage your DRP or your MRP, such things as sales orders, purchase orders, your items, your inventory, stocking levels, lead times, that kind of stuff, and then work orders. From an ERP integration standpoint, Sage 500 is available. We're working out some last-minute kind of minor design changes and some QA testing. Same thing with Sage 100 and Sage 300 and Sage 50 being Peachtree. Those will be available soon. We're also looking to complete as soon as possible our QuickBooks and Intacct integrations. In fact, the Intacct integration is pretty far along right now, so that one actually may be available within a couple weeks. We are also looking at some other ERP systems to be able to integrate with. So this is the home screen for the application. I just wanted to give you kind of a sense of where we're at. There's going to be some very small changes to the UI, but again, launched via web browser. You're going to come into a dashboard or your home page, some news about the product, about the company, and then you can go into your Workbench and actually work on your DRP or your MRP plans. You can go in and manage your forecasts, and then future phases down the road, you'll be able to actually go in and do production, right? Maintain your bill of material, your routings, do production entries, do work orders, etc. We've got a lot of this done. I mean, like I said, we are so close to being able to launch this. In fact, we're at a point now where we can actually demonstrate the system if you have prospects. From a setup standpoint, there's a couple things that we've added. We do support multiple companies, so if you have multiple companies in your accounting system, we support that. You can have multiple groups within those companies, and then the users, obviously, for the system. From a master file standpoint, all these accounting systems are very different. QuickBooks inventory looks a lot different than Sage 100 inventory, than Intacct inventory. So what we're doing is we're bringing in that base level information and then allowing you to maintain the information that may not be available in those systems. So for example, in Sage 100, there is no planner code. In Intacct, there's no buyer, right? So we can actually bring that information in from your accounting system, and then you can maintain the missing pieces that DRP or MRP would need in order to tell you what you need to make or buy and when. Okay? And so all of this is done right now. From an MRP perspective, the bill of material, that again is a future. The messages are available, so you can maintain different types of messages, and we're actually looking to add custom messages. And what I mean by messages, these are exception messages, right? So it's going to tell me that I don't have adequate stock for an item. I need to purchase that item or make that item. It's going to tell me if orders in the system are late, if I need to move things in, if I need to move things out because demand has changed. So all those exception messages that go along with a true MRP application are available to you. We also have the ability to schedule MRP to generate automatically, so you don't have to go in and run it yourself. So maybe I want to run MRP at midnight every day, so my planners come in the morning and they got a fresh set of MRP data to work with. And then, of course, you can have different MRP versions. Maybe you want to maintain a version for different product lines, different versions for different warehouses or manufacturing facilities. So we have all that capability available. And then there's some other setup options that we provide, some forecasting options, some options to look at and maintain transactions, as well as some site settings for the overall look and feel of anytime supply chain. So let's start kind of at the beginning, and that's forecasting. What you're going to do is you're going to come into forecasting. You're going to set up a forecast group, which would be a group of items that you're going to forecast in kind of the same manner, right? Maybe it's for the same warehouse. I can forecast by item, by customer, or just by item. I can throw sales rep and territory into that as well. So if I have a group of items that I don't care about forecasting by customer, I can forecast just by item, list those items in the grid below, Again, these are items that are being pulled out of your accounting system or your ERP system into anytime supply chain. We can then define, are we going to forecast monthly, quarterly, annually, weekly? And then how do we want to smooth that down for our MRP planning? Okay. From here, we would then go ahead and click the forecasting button. This is a piece that we're just finishing up right now, where you would be able to export an Excel template, populate that template with a forecast, and then import that forecast back into the system. Okay, so if I'm forecasting, what do I got here? Furniture and fixtures, I guess, is this one item. That's actually a non-stock inventory. I'm probably a bad example. Got that Publix PL waffles. Don't ask me why we have this demo data, but that's an inventory item. So I can look at that item, and maybe I want to forecast it for customer A and customer B. I'd export the template. I would have all the data available for those items. I could put in the different customers, put in their forecast, import that back in, and that's going to then feed MRP. And the way the forecast works with MRP is we consume the demand, right? So if I'm forecasting 1,000 units in January and I get hard sales orders for 500 units, my MRP or my DRP is going to tell me to either make or buy 1,000 units because I haven't fully consumed the forecast from hard sales order demand. However, if I'm forecasting 1,000 units and I get orders for 2,000, MRP or DRP is going to tell me either buy or make 2,000 units because I've fully consumed that forecast. Okay. We do have the option to maintain some different parameters, if you will, on the MRP versions. Do you want to purge the items when you're running it and then reselect them? Do you want to select make items, purchase items, or both? Do you want to include the bill of material components? Do you want to include forecasted items? Do you want to consolidate warehouses? This is a nice functionality where I might have some virtual warehouses out there that have demand in my accounting system, but I want to consolidate them together into kind of a planning or a production warehouse. Obviously, your start date, your cutoff date, the number of days in your planning period, this would be a weekly. And then some different options here. The planned fence date up here gives you the ability to exclude a period of time where new orders will be created. And what I mean by that is, let's say that I've firmed up my production plan for the next, my purchase plan for the next week. So I know if MRP or DRP creates a new order for me, I can't physically get it onto the schedule until after the fence date expires. So when MRP creates the planned orders for me, it's going to create them beyond that fence date. Okay. So, and then obviously here at the bottom is where we would tie into our different sales forecasts to pull in that forecasted demand into our DRP or MRP plan. Okay. And then we've got some selection criteria on the bottom, so you can actually select what items or warehouses or locations you want to include in this MRP version. So this is just an example of some of the MRP messages. And these are more planning messages, but you're also going to see, you see I've got 61 pages of these. Move in, move out, cancellations if demand has changed and you don't have demand anymore, but you have existing orders in the system. So anytime supply chain is going to do more than just planning for you, it's going to be kind of the brains of your operation to tell you what you need to do within your operations. What do I need to cancel? What do I need to move in? What do I need to create for a purchase order or work order? And then we've got some planning options here. This is when I'm working in the Workbench. Do I want to set my columns to checked or unchecked? Do I want to complete them? Which ones do I want to set for release or for firm? As I'm looking at the suggested orders that Anytime Supply Chain is presenting to me, maybe I want to firm orders up and look at them later. Maybe I want to actually release those orders and complete them so that I know that I've cut that purchase order or I've created that work order in the system. Then I can go ahead and generate. I can generate my planned orders. I can exclude those that are within the amount of lead time and look at them later. I can assume that if I have an existing purchase ordering system that I can move that data up Same thing with a work order or a transfer order. And I can consolidate purchase orders. So this is real nice. If I've got 3 or 4 planned purchase orders out in the same period for a supplier, when I go to actually create those orders, MRP is going to tell me to consolidate them into a single purchase order with multiple lines. Okay. So let's look at the Workbench a little bit. There's a main grid here, and what you're going to see if you look at it is over on the left we've got this days to act. And what this tells us is how many days do we have left before this planned order requires our action. And you can see I've got negative 236 on that first one, meaning I'm late. I'm way late on this item. I've got demand for it, and I don't have any supply. So it's actually telling me to make or buy this item depending on what type of item it is, if it's a raw material or if it's a finished good. Okay, so I can then select these, and I will spend a moment on this. The planned orders are going to be driven off of your accounting system information or the subsequent information you're maintaining for any time supply chain. For example, lead time. If I have a purchased item that has a 4-week lead time, we're going to be looking at that information when MRP is suggesting a planned purchase order, because we're going to want to look at what is that future demand. If it's a month out and I have a 4-week lead time, then it's going to tell me I need to order that today. Okay, so we're time phasing your material plans. And then we're also using the exception messages really to drive this. If everything's working well and we don't have any action messages, then we're not going to have anything to do on our Workbench, and that's really the way it should be. It's a managed by exception application. We can also enable or view the period summary. So for that particular item, I can see all the information for the different periods going forward. Again, we were planning in this MRP version for weekly buckets. So that would be week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, etc. We can see what do we have on purchase order, on work order, planned purchase orders, planned transfers, planned work orders. What do we have for forecasts? What do we have for hard sales order requirements, etc. Right? There's a lot of information here, so we can get a picture of what that supply and demand looks like in those different periods. Transaction detail. So for that selected transaction, I can see what is it telling me to do. It's telling me I need to release a planned transfer order. Okay, I can firm that up. I can define whether that's been actually released. The warehouse, the item, vendor, buyer, all this information is available on the transaction detail. We also have the ability to look at some of the inventory information from the planning workbench. So I can see such things as stocking units of measure. Is it a make to order item or make to stock? Do I have a blanket purchase order out there for it? What's the source warehouse if we're doing a transfer? Who's the buyer? Who's the planner? What's the lead time for this item? And what are my stocking levels? How much do I have on hand? Am I maintaining safety stock of 10 units or 50 units? Would I have minimum stocking, maximum stocking, minimum order quantities, maximum order quantities? Again, all this information I can see right from the planning workbench. So let's talk a little bit about the release schedule for the product. Q1, and when I say Q1, I mean like in a couple weeks. Sales forecasting, DRP, and MRP will be available for customers and prospects on Sage 500, Sage 100, and we're looking like we're going to get Intacct into that time frame as well. Phase 2, which we're targeting for Q2, will really expand this functionality for other customers, particularly those on QuickBooks, Sage 300 being ActPack, and we're also considering a few other accounting applications. In Q3, we're looking to introduce the bill of material and routing along with the after-the-fact production entry reporting, so that we have a light manufacturing solution available, particularly for customers on accounting applications that don't already have a strong production solution like QuickBooks, like Intacct. And then phase 4, which we're targeting by the end of the year, hopefully sooner, we'll be introducing a full-blown work order management system so that MRP will be able to tell you, make these work orders. You'll be able to then go into Anytime Supply Chain, create the work orders, do material issues of items from inventory into the work order, produce those finished goods out of work in process into your finished goods inventory, transferred back into your accounting system, available for sale and shipment to your customers. So hopefully we got you a little excited here. Let's talk a little bit about the product pricing. The product's going to be available really in 2 different modules, if you will. The first is Anytime Supply Chain Distribution, which is going to be $400 per month. That's going to include the planning workbench along with the forecasting. So you're looking at an annual cost of $4,800 per year on subscription, which is really, really affordable. If you're looking to add on, if you're a manufacturer, when we introduce the production entry, the material routing, and work orders, that'll be an additional $400 per month. So if you're a manufacturer, you're probably going to need both of those pieces. You build an $800 a month investment, or $9,600 per year, which again is still very affordable, especially when you consider this is a cloud-based application. And then users, and these would be for distribution, it'd be your planning users, right? The forecast, people maintaining the forecast, the people actually doing the planning. In most cases, we anticipate might have somewhere between 1 and 5 users. So you're looking at $50 per month there. Once we introduce manufacturing, there will be additional users there, right? You might have people logging material issues or labor entries into the application. So the user counts could grow significantly there. How do we compare? We didn't just pull these numbers out of the air. We wanted to look at the market and see what was out there. And we see this as a great opportunity for Anytime Supply Chain with QuickBooks. We also see it as a great opportunity as an add-on solution for Sage 100, Sage 300, and some others. But let's look at it in terms of Intacct. Intacct does not have sales forecasting or any replenishment or planning capabilities today. So let's look at what if we took a true enterprise-level, class act, cloud-based accounting solution like Intacct and added Anytime Supply Chain on top. Now we can go after wholesale distribution. At 15 users, we're looking at a cost with the Intacct cost plus the Anytime Supply Chain cost of just under $40,000. Compare that to NetSuite and Rootstock. That solution is going to run closer to $48,000 annually. And then SAP by Design being right around that $35,000, $36,000. So we're priced competitively with the solution. If we get up into a larger opportunity, 30 users, you're looking at about $70,000 annually for Intacct and Anytime Supply Chain. With NetSuite and Rootstock, you're looking at about $65,000, $66,000. And with SAP by Design, you're looking at about $71,000. So again, very, very competitive. So now you know what the customer's price looks like. Let's talk a little bit about how you can make some money on this. If you want to become a certified reseller, we will provide training to you. We're not going to require you to pay us a reseller fee. If you have the interest to go out and market the solution, to sell the solution, to own this solution, we will work with a handful of certified resellers to train you on the application. If you maintain those certification requirements, and we have a document that outlines those, and you agree to market the application to your customers, to your prospects, to your markets, and provide frontline support, and you can generate $50,000 of annual revenue toward E2B, toward Anytime Supply Chain, which is very, very doable if you're focusing on this market, then you can make 30% on the subscription license. You can also then make whatever you need to, whatever your billable rate is, on the services. And we're here to support you as a channel partner. If you're not ready to take that lead and you want to become an authorized reseller, contact us. We'll get you the information on this program. We do require you to know Anytime Supply Chain. You don't have to know everything about it. You don't have to be certified to implement it, but there are some minimum requirements there. Marketing, we do expect you to actively be marketing the product, have it on your website, promote webinars, register leads with us. And, you have options there on the support side. You can choose to use our help desk, or you can choose to support the application yourself. For those authorized partners, you're going to make 20% margin on the Anytime Supply Chain solution, and obviously everything else on the accounting application. If this isn't your niche, but you do have prospects that might be interested in Anytime Supply Chain, we have a referral program where you would refer the opportunity to us. You maintain, obviously, the relationship with the customer if they're on an accounting solution that you support. But we would go ahead and we would take the lead on the sales side of Anytime Supply Chain, and you'll get a 10% margin on the first-year subscription license. With the other two programs, that is perpetual. So if you're an authorized partner, it's 20% margin on subscription license every year. Certified partners, 30% margin on subscription license every year. So with that, we're going to open up the webinar for questions. Please use the questions and answer panel, and we'll see if you guys have any questions on what we've looked at today. While we wait for questions to come in, I do have my contact information up on the screen, so please jot that down. If you would rather email me a question or set up a private viewing, personalized demonstration of Anytime Supply Chain, we can do that as well. This presentation is also being recorded, and we can send the link to you so that you can share it with colleagues and review it at a later date. At this point in time, I'm actually not seeing any questions, so we're going to conclude the webinar. And again, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out from your busy day to take a look at Anytime Supply Chain, and we look forward to working with you all on many, many sales opportunities in the future. Take care, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.